Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci fi show where things can get totally radical. Now, today I will be welcoming a very funny guy, very funny actor. You may all remember him from Saved by the Bell, Troy Fromin. He played Ox, the big lug on Saved by the Bell, and he played another character, Scud, who was like a heavy metal tough bully type thug, And I actually like that character a little bit better than Ox. But I'm having him on the show today to talk about that and talk about. He did some really obscure horror movies. One I've seen once, and one I never seen. And plus, he was in Return of the Living Dead 2 and Phantasm 2, but that might be an IMDb flubber. Or what's that word? I can't think of that damn word right now, or a blunder, whatever, an IMDb blunder, whatever it's called. And I'm going to talk to him today. His family owns a deli in Santa Monica called Fromin's Deli. And so, yeah, here is my interview with Troy Fromin.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey, Troy, what's up?
Hey. I told you not to use my name during this transaction. Now listen, shut up and let me talk. Shut up! I got your baby Burmese monkey. I need you to meet me at Stoner Park in 1 hour. I want the $5,000 in small bills and a paper brown sandwich bag. I'll be sitting on the bench with a safari hat and a cat carrier. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Doesn't sound like Fred. Who is this?
Tommy Kovac.
Oh, shit, I forgot about that interview. Hey, what I said, don't forget about it. It's not real. Um, What's happening? It's something different. Hey, forget it. Forget about that. That never really happened. Okay.
Yeah, I think the audience is onto us, Troy.
Uh-oh. Okay, listen. Hey. So yeah, the interview. Yeah. Hey, how are you? What's going on?
Oh, I'm pretty good, and it's such an honor because as a huge fan of Saved by the Bell, I thank you so much for the time tonight.
Okay. My volume. Okay. Say it again. I'm sorry. My volume.
I said, being a huge fan of Saved by the Bell, this is such an honor for me, and I thank you for your time tonight.
I was just joking. I could hear it. I just wanted to hear you say it twice.
Well, I did it.
Hey, so I was checking you out. Your comedy. You're a pretty funny guy.
I try to be, thank you.
And I really enjoyed your appearance at the end of Gerald's Game.
At the end of what?
The movie Gerald's Game.
What's Gerald's game?
Oh, never mind. You'll get the joke later if you watch it.
All right.
It's a psycho, and he looks like you. That's all. I thought maybe you saw it, and you just cracked up. You'll get it.
All right.
All
So
right, you go ahead. I'll let you do the talking now. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. So, growing up in LA, did you always know that you wanted to act?
You know, I've done these interviews, and I'll say the same thing, even though I'm very repetitive. I, I've always been a fan of science fiction, fantasy, and horror as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I read comic books, magazines. I stayed up I'm sure like everybody else did. When my parents were asleep, I watched Twilight Zone. I snuck up and watched the late night movies, anything I can. The classic Frankenstein, everything. I couldn't get enough. So, and I decided, one day, I was reading like Stephen King books and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, it'd be really cool if I could just be like an actor laying dead on the ground in one of his movies.
Yeah.
That was my goal at a young age. And then as I grew and matured, I thought, I can act like these idiots on these horror films, and my goal is to have a speaking part in a horror film. And I made it happen for myself and a lot more.
Nice. And did your parents own the deli when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was born into the deli business, and at the age of 15, when I can have my permit for driving, I came to the deli and I started doing little things, and I started after I graduated high school, I got a full-time job in the deli, and that's when I decided, you know, I got to pursue this acting a little bit stronger. So
Mm-hmm.
I got this magazine that most people may not know, but the old timers know, called Drama Log on the newsstand.
Mm-hmm.
This is before the age of cell phones and computers and everything.
Right.
And I got headshots made of myself, and from the extra work and little things I did, I elaborated, which most people do, into a resume.
Right.
I was my own agent. I sent myself out to these non-union movies, and I eventually got speaking parts in non-union films like Speak of the Devil and Street Soldiers and other stuff. And then I met a guy, and I got um, introduced me to his manager, and she sent me on a union gig, a union audition, where I got my Pat Hartley from a show called Doctor Doctor with Matt Brewer.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a milestone for me. And from there, at that age, it's around 1991. At high school age, I started getting stuff like Wonder Years and Who's the Boss, Life Goes On, Just the Ten of Us,
Right.
and eventually Saved by the Bell. And I'll let you talk, and I'll continue more.
So you didn't train anywhere for acting?
Yeah, at the School of VHS.
Oh. Yeah, that's where a lot of my training came from too. I get you. So,
Yeah.
according to IMDb, your first movie was an uncredited role in Return of the Living Dead 2.
Well, that might not be entirely true, but yeah, at a young age, I was at my parents' house. I opened the newspaper, it was a classified ad,
Mm-hmm.
and it said, of course, Return of the Living Dead was one of my favorite horror films at the time, and Evil Dead. My ultimate favorite horror film of all time is Phantasm,
Yeah.
for the record. So it said, show up here and sign up to be zombies and soldiers needed. So I went to the supermarket and I bought some calves brains, any brains I could find. I brought them with me. And when I got to the table, I said, I will eat these brains in front of you if you let me be a zombie in your movie. And they're like, oh, no, just sign up. You can be a zombie, no problem.
Yeah.
So from there, I did zombie extra work with a mask on. And I got my buddies and my pals and my girlfriend at the time in high school to play zombies and soldiers. So we worked like a week straight doing extra work as zombies and soldiers. And then I got the call, like later on after the test screening from Paula Fox, because I helped her out so much with the extra work, and she said, Troy, do you want to be a featured hot smoking driver at the beginning of the movie? And I'm all, hells yeah! And this is the same reaction. I just did an interview for the Return of the Living Dead Part 2, the Shout Factory DVD, and you can watch that 3 minutes long, and I'm talking about the same thing basically.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Phantasm, it also says that you had a role in the second one.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that too. So, at the time I was living at my parents' house rent free, and I could basically do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
I wrote Don Costa. I saw in the Hollywood Reporter Phantasm 2 prepping for production. So I crap my pants. I wrote Don Coscaroli a letter saying I'll do anything, I'll work for free. I want to be involved. And then I got a call from his assistant that they needed craft service. I didn't even know what that was. So making coffee and setting up snacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I met with them, and they offered me $40 a day, and I would have done it for free. So I worked 2 months on Phantasm 2, and then one night Don said, "Okay, Troy, this is your chance," and he put me in this grave digger's outfit, put me in the grave with this fake rubber axe pick thing, and I went at it, and eventually I ruined the axe pick. They had to pay for it. The and that was my appearance.
Wow. Yeah, I met Don Coscarelli last year. What a class act gentleman that guy is.
And let me tell you something. On
Mm-hmm.
the set of Phantasm 2, there was Don. They said Sam Raimi and Robert Tappert are coming to visit because they're buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Raimi didn't show up, but Robert Tappert, the producer, showed up, and I told him all about Evil Dead, my favorite, and besides Phantasm, and I said, if you got anything, I'm SAG because I got my SAG card from that TV show,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, this weekend I need some stunt players to play bad guys, and you look fine. You want in? And he gave me the phone number, and I was in. And you've seen Darkman, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning, like the dock scene where the Lincoln Continentals pull up, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sitting next to I apologize, I can't remember his name. He was in Evil Dead 2. He's the one with the stuffed leg that they pull off, and they into the gun.
Danny Hicks.
Danny Hicks.
Yeah.
I sat next to Danny Hicks and I come out looking all tough, and that was I got paid as a SAG player, and I still get some residuals here and there on that. So I can honestly say I worked with Sam Raimi and Don Coscarelli.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so awesome. How about Monster High?
Monster High was another drama thing that I got really early on, before everything, as a short film. It was a guy named Rudy Poe, and he was doing a short student film called Monster High.
Mm-hmm.
And I played the party zombie that wakes up in the bed with this couple. And he said, if we ever get this turned into a feature, it'll be in it, Troy. So, maybe a year went by, and I came through the drama log and I see Monster High, all these different characters. And I called him, I said, hey, it's Troy. He goes, I'm sorry, Troy, I really don't have a part for you in this, basically. So I'm like, damn. And I'm looking at the parts, and there's a part for a nerd. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And I called him up, you know what, I could be a nerd. At least, I did that thing for you, stayed up all night for you. At least bring me in, and then let me try out as a nerd.
Yeah.
So I put on I made myself look as nerdy as possible. I went in there, and I got that freaking part as Edward Hoser / Mac Monster. You seen it?
I saw it one time, like years ago.
Yeah, it's a really weird movie, and I'm kind of proud of it. I saw this one guy review it on YouTube as one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. Does anybody in the movie still act? Because I've never seen anybody in other movies from that movie.
I can't say for sure. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But I saw it one day at the supermarket on like the $5 Halloween bin, Monster High, and I picked it up, and now I have it.
That's crazy. Did you say to the cashier, "Hey, I was in this movie"?
Nah, I really, maybe I did. I don't remember.
Now, here's a movie I haven't seen, but I'm intrigued. Speak of the Devil.
Yeah, Speak of the Devil, I got that to Drumalog too. And if you go on my YouTube channel, I put my scenes on there from the movie.
Your demo reel.
Not the demo reel, but my scenes. If you cruise down, I got Speak of the Devil, like part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because I got 5 major scenes. I play a punk rocker, and we hang out at this abandoned house where, like, what do you call those people that just that crash houses that are occupied? Squatters.
Squatters, yeah.
Yeah, it's really like squatters, and then it's a total comedy. I mean, it's actually a pretty good movie. It's a comedy and a horror film. This reverend and this evangel, like a Tammy Faye Baker.
Yeah.
They failed with God, so now they started a double temple, and we become part of their assistants and stuff. And I end up being possessed by this double mask, and I impale myself and I burn. Spoiler alert. But it's in my YouTube channel. This scene, it's pretty cool.
I'll check it out. You did an episode of Just the 10 of Us which has a connection because my mom grew up with Dennis Haysbert.
Wow, yeah. I originally read for. Did you see the scene I was in?
That probably many years ago.
Okay, once again, do your homework. It's on my YouTube channel, just the 10 of us. I tried out for the guy that was the punk and not me, but they created my character to be a sidekick called Toad.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really cool, and I met Heather Langenkamp, from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And I saw her in the parking lot because I wasn't in the scene with her. I said, Heather, can I have a moment to tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't scared of me because she knew I was on the show and everything. I said, I just want to say something to you. I said, Nightmare on Elm Street is one of my favorite movies ever. And then I was disappointed by part 2, mainly because you weren't in it, and you threw away the logic of part 1. Then you came back in part 3, and I fell in love with Nightmare on Elm Street again, and kudos to you. And she said, oh, Troy, that was one of the nicest things the fans ever said to me. Thank you so much.
Oh. Yeah.
What's your opinion? Did you like part 2?
I like parts of part 2, certain things about it. I told that to Jack Shoulder last week when I interviewed him. Yeah, there's certain things I like about part 2, but I think part 3 is a masterpiece.
Me too, man.
And I like part 1, but part 1 I think is really, really dark, and Freddy is not quite there the way we all love Freddy, to be the smart ass killer.
Yeah, to me, they got like in the later ones, like it just I didn't like it, like the Dream Baby or whatever.
The Dream Master, yeah.
He's wisecracking. It just became commercial to me, and I didn't like it that much. But I did like the one where the New Nightmare. I like that one.
Yeah, New Nightmare is good.
But it's just me personally, but I could not. Before I say something, did you like Freddy versus Jason?
Yes.
I didn't like it because maybe I missed something because when one of them was resurrected, it seemed like they were just buried in 2 inches of soil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the dog, I don't know, but I was disappointed on it, but whatever, Hey.
Well, it's funny when you bring up Jason. I think that when Paramount sold the franchise to New Line just completely screwed up the franchise.
I'll just tell you my favorite Friday the 13th, 1, 2, and 3, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I did like 4. 5 was disappointing me at the time because Jason wasn't in it, but I reviewed it again, and I liked it. And I fell in love with 6 when the lightning and the rod in there.
Mm-hmm.
And Manhattan was okay, but then I really liked the Jason X with the space. It was like really trippy to me. I liked that one too.
What about New Blood?
New Blood was part 5, right?
That was 7.
I'm not sure. The only one I really hated was the Manhattan one. I didn't hate any of them, but I like the Jason ones better than the later Elm Street ones. But enough of that. We're talking about me, right?
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. You did an episode of Life Goes On. How was that?
That was cool. We had to. Kudos to Chris Burke and everything. But we stayed up till like 3 in the morning because he couldn't get his lines right. But I got paid overtime. Whatever. It was fun. Back then I was like auditioning and landing roles. Getting stuff right away. It's like almost everything I tried out for, I got. But now things are different now. I'm like getting one part for every 100 auditions, and
Yeah.
I don't think my talent went down the drain or anything. I just not as lucky as I used to be.
Yeah, maybe.
I got the Grey's Anatomy a couple years ago from a self-tape audition.
Mm-hmm.
Sent that in, and all of a sudden I got that. That was like a miracle. And I've been trying out lately for cool things. Like I did a self-tape audition recently for HBO's Euphoria, where I had to play a sleazy guy in my underwear on the couch on a teen porn site. I'm fondling myself and talking to her. I'm saying and doing things that I couldn't do. I had to do it alone. My wife was at work, and they viewed that thing 25 times. And self-tape auditions usually they view 1 or 2 times, and that's it, because it's an unlisted private link, and I can see it on my YouTube channel, just me.
Mm-hmm.
I saw how many times they looked at it, and I thought I had it, but they passed me up. And then I almost had a Little Caesars commercial. Started out with 50 guys, came down to 2, and they picked the other guy. And I recently read for 9/11, and I just read for Veronica Mars. So I'm getting in the right doors, and something's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, you just gotta, go with the flow. I mean, acting is pretty tough. I mean, you go on hundreds of auditions. You're actually a professional auditioner before you become a professional working actor.
That's true. And let me say at this time that I had advice, the best advice I ever got from a Fromin's customer named, Joe Turkel?
Yeah, Joe Turkel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Of course, for everybody who doesn't know, he played Lloyd the bartender in The Shining.
and he was in Blade Runner.
That's right. Those are his two. But I looked at his IMDb, and he's got like 100 credits going since like Christ was born.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So I was talking to him about acting, and he gave me the best advice ever. He said, once you audition and you walk out that door, forget it. Put it out of your head. Quit thinking about it. It's hard to do, but it is really good advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he was in like the earliest Stanley Kubrick movies. That's why he was in The Shining. I mean, he was a guy who just basically was nobody, and then he got famous off of those 2 movies, which is quite amazing. You know.
Yeah, did you ever talk to him?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know he's still around.
I might be able to get you an interview with him. I'll talk to him, and if you want to, I'll get you guys hooked up.
Oh, that would be great to talk to Joe Turkel. That would be great. Thanks, Troy.
I also, maybe I can get you Sam Raimi. He comes into the store, and I can also get you, oh God, David Payne,
David Payne.
not Payne. The guy's in Drag Me to Hell, The Boss.
David Paymer?
David Paymer, sorry.
Yeah, I like David Paymer.
I might be able to get you an interview with him, too.
Does Cindy Williams ever go in there?
No, but I can also get you maybe an interview with, I may not say his name right, Louis Heffron. He's in the new Westworld movie series.
I haven't seen. I don't know.
He's in a lot of shit.
Yeah, I probably know him by face.
Yeah, he's got. Anyway, I'll try to get you some people that come into Fromin's, okay?
Awesome. Thanks, Troy. That'd be great.
Yeah, and let me also say to everybody out there that's listening, please friend me on Facebook. I'm wide open. I'd like to reach a broad audience. Instagram and my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And I don't know if you know this, but you ever heard of the name Steve Wang?
Steve Lang. Stephen Lang.
Steve Wang directed Guyver, the 2 Guyver movies.
Oh, okay.
And I was in his first feature film shot on Super 8 called Kung Fu Rascals. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of Kung Fu Rascals, yeah.
I was one of the main rascals. And he shot on Super 8 over the course of a year. And I met Steve Wang through a guy named Donald Jackson. Have you heard of him?
Donald G. Jackson, yes.
Yeah. I was in Donald G. Jackson's movie Chill, Kill, Overkill as the lead psycho with my retarded brother. Have you seen that?
No, but that was funny the way you said that.
It was featured on USA Up All Night a couple times.
I probably did see it then because I watched that show every week when I was a kid.
YouTube channel, Kung Fu Rascals in its entirety, and Kill Kill Overkill.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, they're great. They're great low budget movies that are great memories for me.
Awesome. So let me ask you. So how does Saved by the Bell come to you?
How did it come to me?
Like, did you audition?
Yeah. So that's back when I had my agent, and she sent me on audition, and I was getting little things here and there, and Saved by the Bell. I auditioned as Scud. Remember Scud?
Yeah, Scud.
The Say No Hope with Dope episode.
That's one of
So I
three.
got that, and I did that, and like a couple days later, she called me and they go, Troy, they love you. They want you back on the show, but they want to try you as Ox, as a football player. Basically, it's yours, but you got to go through the formality of reading one scene. So I went in there, I read one scene, and basically Robin Lippin said, "It's yours. We just had to do this."
Mm-hmm.
So I did one episode, and then they go, "Are you available for the next one?" So eventually, I did 9 of them, but I was also did Wonder Years at the same time.
Yeah.
And then Wonder Years called me, my agent, and they wanted me for the 3rd episode. I did 2 of those, and I was already booked for Saved by the Bell, so she had to turn Wonder Years down. And Wonder Years got pissed off, and they stopped calling, because I was going to be a regular on Wonder Years too. So they both conflicted. How about that?
Yeah, those were my 2 favorite shows. I remember seeing you on both. But yeah, that No Hope with Dope one. That's one of 3 of my favorite episodes of Saved by the Bell.
Wow. And there's a guy that that's doing a book about called and not for a special episode or something like that. He featured me. He did an interview of me because I was in the drinking and driving one.
Yep.
And the No Hope with Dope one, which were special episodes.
That's good. That's cool. He interviewed you.
Yeah, on the phone for his book.
Nice. Did you ever get to see anything exciting behind the scenes?
That's the most frequently asked question of all my interviews, and the answer is no. I saw even a magazine asked me this recently, and I saw no drama, nothing, no drugs, no sex, nothing. If anything that was going on like that, I never saw it or heard any of it. So that's what that is,
Yeah, because you only did 9 episodes, so you couldn't have been around to see all that.
Right. Even though I was in the background and at the craft service table or in my dressing room along with the other people, I didn't see any drama at all. Everything was just really cool.
Were you in that one episode where there's like a Glee Club class and Hamilton Camp is the music teacher?
No, the only singing thing I did was like we're in pink shirts and we're singing up like near the end of the whole thing. And we're singing about how we love our school and this and that.
Oh yeah.
And you want to hear a funny story about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I knew you would. Don Barnhart was the director of them, and I hated singing. I didn't want to sing. I hated the idea of singing. So everybody's singing on the bleachers, and I'm mouthing the words. I wasn't singing because I wasn't doubting my voice. So he stops there and he goes, "Are you singing or are you mouthing the words?" I guess I was mouthing the words. He goes, Why? He goes, "Well, I don't think I can sing good." He goes, "It doesn't matter. You're an actor, so act." He was pissed off at me. So I started singing.
Shit. Oh, man. Then you had a role in Class of Nuke 'Em High Part 3, and the first one is such a classic. I mean, did you like the original?
Yeah, I did like the original. A lot of the trauma stuff to me was like, trash to me. But I was actually in Part 2 more than 3. And you know how I got that, right?
No, how?
All right. Now, there's a guy named Eric Luzil. Have you heard of him?
Eric Brazil?
Eric Luzil.
Luzil. No.
All right. So he did a trauma film called Lust for Freedom. And And then there was another Adam drama called Mercenaries or something like that. So I showed up, and he wanted mercenaries for this movie that was backed up by Trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a freebie I did, and it was a co-starring part. So they signed me up, and we took a motorhome to the Washington State Forest, and they set up army tents, and they had this big Chapman camera, like a 35mm camera that weighed like 400 pounds or whatever, and 2 people had to carry. So the whole crew, we shot our scenes in the Washington State Forest, Forces of America, which you can catch, I think, on YouTube. You ever heard of it?
Which one?
Forces of America?
No.
America's spelled with 3 Ks, like KKK.
Yeah.
We're going around killing innocent women, children, old men, everything. It's a creepy ass movie, and I got a scene with a topless girl in a hotel room. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So Eric was slated to direct Nuke 2, and I had a big part in it. But then along came this like stupid vampire movie that gave me a co-starring part. I was one of the main vampires.
Mm-hmm.
So I told Eric, I got the bigger part. So I just filled in here and there on part 2, and the vampire movie never got finished.
Oh.
So, and I also gave, because of the vampire movie, I gave up a part in Guyver, which is a SAG movie. I could have gotten residuals.
Mm-hmm.
This vampire movie screwed me up majorly.
Oh.
And if I could go back in time, I would have skipped the vampire movie.
Yeah.
Called Night Tour, and you can see parts of Night Tour on my YouTube channel and see how horrible it was. So I'm in parts of Class of Nuke 2. Then he shot Nuke 3 right after, and he asked me to come in and do a scene and do an improv.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm an infirmary student, and this nurse who's actually a man, like a 300-pound man. That's what seems to be the problem. So if anybody wants to see what I do, go to my YouTube channel, Class of Nuke 3, and you can see what I do.
Okay. Now, why did you take a long break from acting?
Okay. I worked at the deli,
Mm-hmm.
and times got tough for my dad, and that was my paycheck. Acting wasn't paying the bills. So I slowly had to skip auditions to stay at the restaurant because my dad was he was flipping his lid. So I was disappearing for hours to go on audition.
Mm-hmm.
So acting faded out so I could pay the bills. And basically, it was a 12 or 13 year break. And then I was at a family function, and one guy said, you're talented. You do all this stuff. Why don't you go back to it? I said, my dad and this and that. And my dad said, if you want to go back to acting, I'll back you up. At that point, I got, and then I joined Facebook, and people are going, where are you? What are you done? So I got all this reinsurance from my family and fans.
Mm-hmm.
I got headshots made, and I called my buddy Tyler Burrow, who I did movies with,
Mm-hmm.
and he got me introduced to his agent and manager, and I started going out on auditions, and I nailed the Jim Beam national commercial. So for the last 5 years, I've been with them. I'm in talent. Thank you, I'm in talent. And I'm doing my best. And I've also been doing some non-union stuff, like Horn Dogs Beach Party. Sometimes I get parts handed to me, like Horn Dogs Beach Party,
Mm-hmm.
and other stuff too. And so I'm trying my best. I really am.
Yeah, that's awesome, Troy. I'm really glad that you're back in the game and stuff. And like I said, it takes time, but you'll get to it. And I think you're on a right path.
Thank you. And what's the most exciting part about this is, like, one day you're doing nothing, the next day you get a call, try out for this. And the next day you're on that thing,
Mm-hmm.
which can make a series or something else. So it's so exciting because I tried out for Captain Marvel as a security guard. I could have been in that movie, but I didn't get it.
Right. Right. Well, I I think you've got some good stuff on the horizon, and I thank you so much for taking the time tonight, Troy. This was awesome.
Thank you. And please, everybody, join me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and contact me, and I'll do interviews with anybody, just like you.
All right. Well, Troy, you have yourself a great night.
And you too, buddy.
Thank you.
It's an honor to meet you.
You too.
And I saw the people you interviewed, and it's fantastic and impressive.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy right now. I wasn't for a while, but now I absolutely am. I'm so lucky, and I'm so grateful for what I got.
In your Facebook picture, you're posing with two kids. Are those your kids?
What do you mean, what kids?
You're like your cover photo. You're hugging a couple kids in your arms.
Those aren't kids. Those are Catherine Stewart and Kelly Maroney.
I better go back and look at that.
Yeah.
Tommy, are you married? I don't know what's going on with you.
I am single. I don't have any kids.
All right, because some pictures I thought you had kids and a wife or whatever. It's just me. I'm being stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You're like the 100th person who's actually thought the same way, but don't worry about it.
And listen, I want you to come to Santa Monica and have lunch with me, okay?
I will. I had to skip this year. This was a really dark year for me, but next year is going to be better. I am going to come out to LA next year, and you will see me. I promise.
Where do you live?
I live in Redding at the moment.
How many miles is that from Santa Monica?
That's I don't know how many miles, but I know it's like 7 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Let me know. I want to have you over for lunch.
I will. I promise.
Maybe we can cruise the day together, go to the pier, or whatever.
Yes. I love the Santa Monica Pier.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Yep. Love you, man. All right. Well, there you have it. Troy Fromin. Ain't he a cool dude? Thank you so much, Troy. You're a really cool guy, and I can't wait to see you when I'm in LA. And you're on an amazing path. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.